Okay, it's happening. The long-awaited ugly apartment tour is finally upon us. Why am I doing this? I'm an interior designer, but I live in an ugly house, and this is very awkward for, I think, obvious reasons. It would be like if there was a dentist with bad teeth. I definitely have a lot of not great feelings about the fact that I live in a place that does not whatsoever represent my abilities or my style. It just has not been a priority for us. We're saving up for something else. It's taking shape. Not exactly sure yet, but something else. We are both kind of allergic to spending money on this apartment, and also hoping that some of these ideas can help you out along the way, because even though we didn't do the most beautiful job, our place is pretty functional and pretty comfortable, and so I do still have a few tips to share. So starting in the entry, I had to do a bit of a wide angle because it's so small you guys would not be able to see otherwise. There was no space under the door to add a proper rug, and so we actually just added one of those computer chair floor protectors. But of course we still have a few hooks on the outside of the doors here because nobody wants to hang coats in closets anyway. Like, let's be serious. And we try to incorporate bits of small genius in every space. And I realized I had a spare broom clip. This is one of those command broom clips that you're supposed to hang in your utility closet, but I had an extra one and it was just perfect for this application. So that umbrella never falls down anymore. Love that. And on this side, we have a shoe bench and a mirror and a little drop zone. We actually used to have a shoe cabinet here, one of those ones from IKEA, and it was great. It was a really great use of this space, and it is the best solution for most people with really small entryways. It was just feeling a bit claustrophobic to me, so we replaced it with this definitely uglier shoe bench, but hey, it does the trick. So overall, not beautiful, super not beautiful, but it is functional, and the entryway is one of the most utilitarian spaces in your home, so it really does have to work for you. Moving on to the bathroom, also very small, not a lot to see here. If anyone out there is renovating a bathroom, I don't like how they put the toilet here instead of here in the corner. I know that they were trying to maximize counter space, but having the toilet smack in the middle of the room, there is very little space for the door swing, and even one person in this bathroom feels very, very small. Also very weird how they stuck a towel bar above the toilet. That is a terrible place for a towel of any description. And moving around to quickly check out this pantry area, this wall could have been a lot of things. And it used to be something different. It used to be better, but we really just needed the pantry space. And so we took an old shoe shelf, stuck some doors on it, and now our food is mostly hidden, not entirely hidden. As you can see, it is not big enough. We still don't have all the space we need, but this is the best I was willing to do with our budget and the time I had to spare. Moving on to the dining area, this actually was an area of improvement and beautification in our little apartment. So when we moved in, the side of the oven was actually exposed. It was super unattractive, and so I just added this sheet of beadboard, which luckily was already cut to the exact size we needed. I added some trim on the top and the bottom to make it look finished, and added this little table and chair combo in front. Also added a light. So this is on a pendant extension that runs to an outlet over in the kitchen, and the table can actually pull out, and it has an extra leaf that flips up for when we have guests. We can add a couple more chairs and sit around and all have a meal together. Okay, moving into the kitchen. Not beautiful whatsoever, as you can see. Very small, not super functional, but we did our best to make it as functional as it could be under the circumstances. So this one's easy, but I'm going to point it out anyway because you wouldn't believe the number of homes I go into where people are using a drawer for their utensils. Don't do that, especially if you have a really small kitchen. Put them in a crock. Another great tip is adding trays or lazy Susans to your countertops, just to corral all of the small items that can accumulate on the surface area. And something else that is great to utilize is the side of your fridge. You can get all of these magnetic organization accessories that you can add to the side of the fridge, and again, get stuff out of the drawers, off of the counter. This is my favorite one here. It's a magnetic paper towel holder. You can get adhesive paper towel holders that go underneath the cabinets, but that's not always the best choice for people in rentals. We also have a little dish drying mat on top of the fridge, but mostly we try to keep our dishes in here in our second basin. By the way, if you are doing a kitchen renovation and you have the opportunity to change your sink, do not get a double basin sink. They are virtually useless. Get a large single basin where you can actually fit an entire baking sheet or an entire pan, including the handle, the turkey tray, whatever it may be, into the sink completely without awkwardly having to wash it on an angle. But the hottest tip for the kitchen probably is changing out the aerator. I made a separate little video on this that I will link below because this is the easiest, quickest thing you can do to immediately improve your functionality in the kitchen if your rental just had one of those super basic standard little aerators that doesn't swivel or move or anything else. As for fruit storage, we used to have a little fruit hammock hanging under these cabinets, and we do still have the banana hook. You guys can see very glaring on the camera, but we did add some lighting underneath the cabinets. The overhead lights are not turned on in this house under any circumstance. We rely totally on lamps and sconces and alternative lighting like this. It creates a way nicer glow. It makes the home feel so much more comfortable. Also, if you guys are still hurting for storage space, you can add a pot rail. This is stuff that we use every day, and even though we have a handful of cabinets, a lot of them are upper cabinets. And something like this, I think, totally has potential to be functional styling. But the main thing I should point out in the kitchen is that to be functional, your kitchen must have a minimum of 36 inches of uninterrupted counter space, which we did not have in this original kitchen. So we actually took my old drafting table and just stuck it on the end of our kitchen here to slightly extend the space. Used to have a curtain here. That was pretty ugly too, to be honest. It was a little bit better than this is, but I just don't care enough to add doors, and it's still really, really functional for us. It would have been even better if we had cut the legs down to match it to the same height as the countertop, but we didn't do it at the time, and now it all fits there so nicely we don't want to mess with it. But update on the contact paper, it did not last, as you guys can see. This is terrible. It is so cut up. It really did not stand the test of time. And quick shout out to this portable washer. It has been awesome. I was very skeptical when we first got it, but Jake insisted that we buy one, and it's actually been great. So if you guys are in a rental with shared laundry and you're just sick of trudging up and down the stairs, consider one of these guys. I will link the one that we have below. Moving on to our workspace, it kind of sucks. I know so many of you have to work from home now. Often this space goes in the living room. And if you are more concerned about how it looks, there are other options like the transformer table, the Friday clamshell desk, other types of Murphy or wall desks. Armoire desks can be a good solution, but I find that a lot of them don't incorporate all of the storage you need, all of the functionality and ergonomics you need. Moving on to the living room. So immediately you guys can see the giant stack of pillows behind the couch. I will get to that in the bedroom. It's this other project we're working on, but pretending that's not there, you can also immediately see that we don't have enough seating. Any living room should seat minimum 4 people comfortably, and 6 is ideal. But in a lot of these small apartments, small spaces, I know that you can probably only hope for 4. What this place should have had was an L sectional that sat 6. And then adding an additional chair could have increased the seating. But right now, really, we can only sit 3 people. And that's not great for conversation either when everyone is in a row. On this side, this is just a bunch of old, thrifted, gifted furniture lumped together into all of the storage that I really need. So all of my samples are kept in these couple cabinets here. I know a lot of people think that this additional riser on top of the sideboard makes the TV too high. But that's actually not true, because when you are relaxing and watching TV, you're usually reclined a little bit, which raises the angle of your eyes. So this is totally fine for us. It definitely looks better when the TV is mounted. We can't do that here, but if you own your place, a mounted TV is definitely more attractive. We also added these plants in the corner. This is the only one still living. There used to be 3. This guy died. This one that is not there anymore just totally broke and disappeared. It used to look really nice. I'll throw in a picture. This is an example of adding height to a space That is often what's missing in a lot of people's homes. The lower half of the room is full of furniture and color and texture, and then the upper half of the room gets kind of forgotten. And so this is where things like hanging plants, floor lamps, wall sconces, ceiling treatments, large pieces of art can really come to the rescue and make your place look a little more three-dimensional. Despite it being too small, the couch is a pull-out couch, so it is actually a sleeper sofa, and we do have storage in the chase. And this table is actually a lift-top coffee table, and this is where we eat all of our meals. It's awesome, we love it. So this is just some old janky table that we already had, and we grabbed a hobby board and some lift hinges, and we just made this ourselves because when we originally tried to buy this coffee table, this is like one of the only pieces we were actually willing to buy for our apartment, but the lift mechanism was not nearly high enough, so it didn't even clear our knees. And I'll just take you guys outside quickly. The balcony was actually where we put the most time and effort because we were so excited to finally have a balcony when we moved here. But like many of these old apartments, it's so shallow that it's almost useless. You can't actually fit lounge chairs out here. So what we ended up doing was laminating a few boards together to make these tabletops and adding them on collapsible hinges. So when they're not in use, they fold down flat against the railing, and we can easily raise them up when we have people over to have drinks or a meal on the patio. And this is all super renter friendly. It is all installed using heavy duty zip ties. And we also added some shades because we're south facing and the apartment can get so hot in the summer. And so we created just this little frame out of 1x1s, which we attached the shades to, and we have much better heat and lighting control through the warmer months of the year. Okay, finally moving into the bedroom. I've actually already done an entire video about all the things wrong with this room, and so I won't go over them in detail again, but this is the pillow I was talking about that is currently taking up so much real estate in our small living room. Basically, I have been after just a one and done solution, one single pillow to make your bed look put together without the effort of styling 5 to 7 pillows and annoying everyone who then has to move them. So these will be launching pretty quickly. Another thing I should point out, again, hooks, hanging. Oh, more pillows. We're drowning in pillows in this place. But hooks and hanging. Nobody wants to fold clothes carefully, and people also really can't be bothered to hang their clothes. That's why clothes end up on the chair in the corner of the room so often. People just want to hang or drape clothing. So Jake has all of this hanging space here, and I have been piloting a draping system. So these were just the cheapest blanket ladders that I could find on Amazon as sort of like a proof of concept thing, and I have loved it. Ideally, it would be wider so the clothes aren't broken up. I am really pleased with how this has turned out, and it would be even better behind closed doors. So there you have it. That was definitely not a comprehensive tour. I missed some things, both good and bad, that we'll probably revisit in other videos now that I may not be so terrified to film in this apartment. Despite how it looks, I still have a lot of training and knowledge and experience, and I really love helping people make their homes more comfortable, functional, and yes, beautiful.